as good as we're going to get.
Hey!
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everybody. Um, I am joined today for the first time ever by Miss Swift. Round of applause. Thank you for joining us today in front of the camera. Um, and this is Lord of Illusions from what, 95.
I think
This
it's
will
95 or 96.
95 or 96. This will be an interesting watch for us. I think about half of us are watching the theatrical, half are going to be watching the director's cut. So we're probably going to be like 13 to 14 minutes off. Um, I'm up for it. Let's dive right in and we'll get started with the party. Um, Sync point is about 16 seconds in. And let me count my timer again. Right where the United Artists Pictures logo is, the white print on the backs on the black screen. That's where we're going to start. And let's get started once my timer is at 16. There we go. All right, Miss Swift, you want to count us down and get us going?
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press play.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so I'm already noticing in the chat that let's see, a couple people have not seen this before.
Ooh, okay.
All right, so before we get going with the party, we are going to do a shout out. And I'll make sure all my volumes are turned down. Yeah, I mean, we're diving right into the movie with kind of the backstory, a little bit about magic and demons. But anyway, over in YouTube, we've got Alex, Eric, Old Johnny Devick, Calbot, Mad Matt. Let's see, Alex is there. Hey, Miss Swift is over there in the chat. Let's see, Eric, Calbot. Who am I missing? Anybody? Johnny Devick. Okay, over in Discord. I'll be over in Discord a little bit. We've got Alex, Calbot, Miss Swift over there in Discord. We're just all over the place. We've got Eric. Hey, James Hellier.
We are
Welcome to the chat.
everywhere.
Huh?
I said we are everywhere.
We are everywhere. Um, okay. So I think I've done a shout out. If I missed anybody, just raise your hand and shout really loud. Don't want to miss anybody. Okay. Miss Swift, so tell us why you chose this movie. Like the first time you saw it, what do you love about this movie?
All right. I chose this movie because I was the biggest Clive Barker fan in like middle school / high school. And I did see this one in the theater. I had also read a lot of his stuff because I came to him through Nightbreed and the Hellraiser films. And I remember, like at the time, Clive, like it was like Stephen King was quoted as saying, "I have seen the future of horror, and it is Clive Barker." And I was like, "Oh, that person that Steve King likes. I got to see what that's all about." And well, he made an impression, but he didn't quite hit that Stephen King level.
You were more of a Stephen King fan?
No, no, actually, I was more of a Barker fan. I'm pretty sure I've read more Barker than I have Stephen King.
Very interesting. I thought I was the only one that had read Barker's stuff before he became
Yep,
like this household name. And I think, like you, I found him kind of through Stephen King's work,
yep,
but not really Barker's movies until I think the Hellraiser series was really like,
yep.
holy smokes, what is this dude up to? Um,
Yeah, and I saw this in
and
the theater, I believe.
did you? Okay, back
Yep.
in the day.
Also, I was
Um,
pretty sure I've read the short story this was based on before this, and given how much he's changed, there was a reason like, oh, that was based on that story?
did you see the movie not knowing it was based on that story?
Yes.
And you saw there was a lot of similarities, but obviously they've kind of made it this whole new movie in
Yep.
some regards, right?
Yep.
Okay. Um, okay, so we're starting in the chat. Johnny Devick has not seen this. Alex Peacock is also saying this is a new one for me. Matt has never seen this either until this morning. So this is like a
Yeah.
double watch for him. Um,
And yeah. And ironically, I kind of don't like this movie. I like it, but it's like it was like almost because you can see the promise, but you're just like you just fell short. Just so close.
yeah, and it's interesting when we talk about, back in the day, we're talking about like the 80s and some of the 90s where I think, correct me if I'm wrong, gang, but in the horror genre, it was Stephen King who he was writing almost yearly. He was coming up with new material. And then shortly thereafter, his material would then be movies. And it was such a fast turnaround that it was almost like, why bother reading the book? We just know it's going to be a movie. Or read the book because I know the movie's going to be crap, right? And then Clive Barker is over here. He's been writing books forever that had not been turned into Hollywood productions, big movies. And so when he started coming on the screen, it was it was something to behold. I think that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Um, and there's something in that quote of Stephen King said, "I've seen the future of horror," and it is Clive Barker, that drew me to Clive Barker's books
Yes.
rather than the movies. But once Hellraiser came along, I mean, all bets are off, and then it's all like Clive Barker's got it going on.
Yep.
Um,
So you can
and
see here in this scene with
yep,
the mandrill. Apparently, that's something Clive Barker fought to get in the movie, and it was supposed to have a gory death, but they couldn't get the animatronics right.
so this is an actual. Do they call him an ape or a monkey?
It's a mandrill. It's called a mandrill.
It's a
I'm not sure
mandrill.
if I'm not sure if mandrills. I think they're in the same family with baboons in that sort of branch. So I guess that
Yeah.
would make them an ape.
And we have a lot of people in the chat that do recognize
Kevin
Benny.
J. O'Connor, aka
Yep,
Benny.
yep, it's Benny from the movie.
This was the
This
thing I
was,
recognized him from when I saw him in The Mummy. I was like, isn't that the guy from Lord of the Illusions?
and here I'm saying, oh, that's the guy from the Mummy. This was before the Mummy. What year was the Mummy? Right after this?
99.
Yep. Okay, so he probably got recognized for this, then got cast in the Mummy.
Yep.
Um, okay, so Calbot is saying a mandrill is a monkey according to
Yep.
Wikipedia.
Okay.
Um, oh, Alex Peacock. Here's a good reference. So we have King and Crichton and Grisham, book to movie. It was like one after the other after the other.
Yeah.
Um,
Not to mention, like, there are a
Calbot,
lot of things for stealth book to movie that a lot of people didn't realize.
yes, a lot more of the Clive Barker was stealth than, I mean, Stephen King was a big spectacle back in the day. Um, Matt, was that Guillermo del Toro? Miss Swift, what do you think?
Uh, no, I don't think so. What was it? Well, also a quick aside here: the
Yes.
actor playing young Butterfield, I believe he was in Night of the Living Dead 3, aka the one where the girl has all like the piercings and the knives.
Really?
Yes, and he went on to a few other things, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have, well, let's have a lot to talk about with this movie. We'll talk about everything Clive Barker, everything related to this movie, and then some. This is, I'm not going to say an all star cast, but I think there's going to be a lot of people here that we recognize from other works.
Yeah.
This was late 90s. Um,
So it's a very before they were famous type movie.
right. And even I'm trying to remember. Scott Bakula did his whole quantum leap
Yeah, he had done that
before.
before this.
Yeah.
Also, Color of Night was just before this, so I guess he was trying to break out of the Sam Beckett mode. But
Oh, as a lot of actors in TV, they found it almost impossible to break out into big movies, be a big movie star. Um, and isn't it interesting that today those lines are blurred? TV, movie, I mean, they're the same. They are treated the same in a lot of regards.
uh,
Um,
no, Eric, I don't read Sutter Kane. I don't like being insane.
that's a great question. These are great special effects.
It's like I've still always kind of wondered what exactly it is they're trying to show here, because it was just like it's just like, oh, streams of flesh and whatever. Also,
Yes.
the actor playing Nick's here is probably more famous from people from Malcolm in the Middle and Seinfeld, but he was also in Stephen King's Thinner, bringing it back around.
Definitely. You'll notice over on Discord, Matt posted a GIF of him on Seinfeld. On Seinfeld.
Yep.
So we have some very well-known actors. Um,
Woo! There we go. Right in the right in the ticker.
that's the kill shot.
Kill shot.
So if you're unfamiliar with this movie, so this I can't even remember the first time I saw this, but I did a pre-watch last night, and there is a lot of the imagery that's supposed to be messing with our heads, and you're not supposed to know what's illusion, what is mind fuckery, for lack of a better word. We've got a
It
lot of
looks
that going on.
it looks like a Discount the Mummy set. You kind of wouldn't be wrong. Also, if you see back there up on the wall, I think I see like an ape image on the wall there.
Oh, all right. Well, let's see if they bring it back around. Let's see if we can. So, if you're unfamiliar with this movie, all we know is there is this battle going on, and they're doing some really creepy stuff to Nix to kind of kill him, to stop him. We know he's a bad dude.
Yep. Also, for anyone familiar with the movie Black Sunday, Roger Corman, I believe,
Hmm.
that was one of the inspirations for this mask that they put Nyx in. So if you remember that scene at the beginning where she's Barbara Steele is having the mask hammered over her face, that was kind of the inspiration for this mask that they put Nyx in.
And that's almost like a torture device from any one of the Saw movies. That's
Yes.
fast forward to some of the gross movies that are going on today. Yes, Alex, that shotgun should have been doing more damage. He should have, he should have been dead immediately, but he didn't. So now we're getting into some, this is not what it seems, for
That's
lack of
that shirt
giving.
there. That shirt the Swan is wearing is such a fashion crime.
Maybe back in the 70s, maybe
This is
it felt
1980. It said 1982. Like, so I guess you're at the tail end of the 70s. That little vibe where
yeah.
you're in that crossover space. You're like,
Um, oh, Matt is also making a reference to some of the lore from Warlock going on
"Ooh,
here,
sweet,
quite
nice,
possibly.
possibly." Because yeah, you use iron to bind witches, particularly in that one. Cut to New York.
Yep. So now we're going through a big time jump. So that would be 13 years later, present day, which would be, yeah, mid 90s.
Real men wear paisley. I feel
Oh,
like that's
yeah,
a
do
true.
they? Okay. I'm sorry. Sam Beckett, that's what I immediately
You
think
Sam
of.
Beckett.
Um,
Archer, or what was it? NCIS Los Angeles.
yes. And then also the character, I haven't watched him in Star Trek, and he played, what's his character
Archer,
in Star Trek?
Archer,
Archer?
Captain Archer, I believe.
Captain Archer.
Yep. Modern day 1995.
Okay.
Yes. Mother, father,
Um,
sister deceased. Nice murder board.
yes. So, okay. Um, yeah, I just had a thought and it escaped me.
Engage.
So the previous events took place in the Mojave Desert, right? Were we made aware of where it was taking place?
Yeah, it said Mojave Desert, 1982.
Okay. And that believe was actually filmed in the Mojave Desert.
Yep. Let's see. What was this? Forgot where. Well, at least the next part of it is. I think some of this was actually done on location, which was another thing that strained their budget. But this had a budget between 10 and 12 million, and they were trying to go for a $40 million look. So
Ooh. Okay,
they're
so it
close.
doesn't. Yeah, it's not a $40 look.
Well, $40 million
Um,
look. Yeah.
it $40 million look. But it's interesting. Clive Barker had his hand in writing it, directing it. What
Yep.
else? He was kind of like all encompassing. This was his project.
Yep.
Um,
He'd envisioned this possibly being like a series of movies starring Harry D'Amour, and he was very insistent on casting Bakula for the role. He was like, and even now he's like, when I think about this character, when I write him in other things, I see Scott Bakula as Harry D'Amour.
very interesting. So, okay, so this is interesting. We'll see if my copy has the flashbacks of, I guess, this exorcism that he had taken part in.
Yep.
Is everybody still pretty much on cue? Um,
Burning out. And the dude's at home dry.
um, because it'll be interesting to see the versions that everybody is watching. At what point are we going to start deviating? What scenes is in the director's cut but not in the theatrical cut?
It's like, yeah, from what I understood, mostly what they cut out was dialogue
Okay.
and like
Um,
one, oh, boobies. Sorry.
no, that's okay.
And like
Um,
like the love scene and like some a little bit of blood and gore.
okay. So we should still be right on. Everyone, yeah.
Yep.
Alex and Matt are mentioning. Yep, we got
Palm
palm trees. He's
trees.
in California.
We got
Naked
palm trees.
lady.
We got a juice bar. We got a palm tree. We got a juice
Yep,
bar.
we're in California. Um, so what's interesting is that they brought his character to do supposedly insurance fraud
Yep.
from New York all the way out to California.
Sunny California. Yay.
Yeah, could they not have gotten someone in California for
Yeah.
cheaper?
I guess his friend was doing him a solid trying to get him away from all the weird stuff, as he said.
Yeah,
And I like the little pompadour going on this guy here, with his
yeah,
chains and things. In the PG-13 Jason scene. Yeah.
exactly.
Fortune teller. And just the guy randomly sitting downstairs smoking a cigarette. What?
Yeah,
And a holster and sunglasses?
yep. Well, this is downtown LA. I guess
I
that's what
guess
they
that's what
do.
you do. Maybe he was a
Um,
hustler.
yeah. And also, while this is California, where I mean, they get sunshine 360 days of the year.
They get joy and pain, sunshine and rain. Oops, something
Exactly.
just went down. That's your mark, Harry. Maybe you should follow the money.
Yeah, this
Tattoo.
is where the story is going to get to bizarre. There's a
Oh,
lot of
bloody
bizarre twists
footprints.
and turns. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I
What?
said, oops, bloody footprints. That's never a good sign.
That's never a good sign. Yeah, Johnny Devitt thinks he would remember this away team mission from Enterprise.
Well, you know, there's so much time travel going on, and there's a temporal Cold War. Who, you know. Ooh, hey. And we never kind of this freaking guy, dude. You're just sitting around filing your teeth, you know, like you do
Yes,
when you're
this
sitting around
this
with your
is
Nazi friends.
bizarre. Oh, hey, yeah, Matt's also posting. See, Alex Peacock also posted some Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah, gotta love those two.
Also, Rue Morg did a brief breakdown of the tarot spread on his table there, this Quaid's table,
Yeah,
and there's a good video that says that basically the tarot spread on the table breaks down the whole story. Oh, here comes the iconic Butterfield.
and yep, and we see Butterfield 13 years later too. What I think is fascinating is that I wanted to know more about Damour's interaction with the exorcism and what went wrong with that. That would have
Yeah,
made a tremendous backstory
yep.
if
I had a
they
feeling.
had time to do it.
I had a feeling that was the plan. And I don't know those of you who watched the Constantine TV show. That's like there was like an exorcism gone wrong as a backstory in that one, and it reminded me a lot of this, where you just kind of see the flashes and you're like, you figured it was going to be revealed eventually if the series took off, but you know, it kind of didn't.
Yeah, all we get is those little snippets.
Yep. Taste the darkness the more. It's been waiting for you. I'm always down for punching Nazis.
Hell yeah. That was a great shot
So
where they didn't cut away as the
it's
body
like,
was coming down.
woo! I can see my
I'm
house
always
from here.
Yeah, and I'm always impressed when they actually follow and you see the body hit.
So on the table there, we see a three of hearts, which, you know, could be a reference to something. Since a lot of people haven't seen this one, I'll try and be a little bit vague. But they're like, yes, the tarot spread symbolizes a few things here.
Yeah. So there are a few people that have not seen it, so we can give away a little bit, but none of the big, game-changing moments or spoilers.
Yeah, correct. Alex Peacock. When he popped up again in Legends of Tomorrow, I was like, oh yeah, for Constantine. I was like, darn it, the exorcism gone wrong. And they were just starting to get into that when the show got the original TV show got axed.
So I had seen Constantine the movie. There was an actual show.
Yeah, there was a show briefly.
Mm.
And let's see, I believe this guy has 10 knives or 10 stab wounds in him, which is similar to one of the cards on the table, which is the Ten of Swords.
Oh, I had seen that card. I didn't make that connection
There we
because I
go.
think
Sorry,
they.
I was a little ahead. There you are.
Yeah, I didn't make that connection.
And that particular card was also an inspiration for something that happens later in the movie. Is this that? looking at this
Oh.
actress.
Oh,
Yep,
so Johnny Depp is saying he's heard rumors of a new Constantine movie.
movie. Okay. Oh, that guy. I forget his name. Who's the photographer there?
Oh, that's one of those guys. We've seen that guy before. Oh, Alex is saying that the show is probably on NBC.
Yeah, it was on NBC, I believe. It was in that, like, I think it was that Friday night death slot where it's like
Oh,
where they put your shows to die.
if they start out a show on Friday nights, it's not going anywhere.
Yep.
Johnny Devick is saying is that Warwick Davis.
No, it's not Warwick Davis.
Um,
I'm trying to think of something specific I saw him in other than like was he in an episode of like Golden Girls? But like uh he's another thing, but it's not Warwick Davis. I believe
hmm.
that guy's an American. I could probably look it up. It
Yeah,
is,
that's messed up. You're pulling glass out of you, and you don't
yeah.
seem to be screaming or anything.
I was like, this guy, dude, you got some issues.
Okay, do you see Matt over in Discord posted a picture? Danny Woodburn from Seinfeld. Yeah,
Yeah,
And
there
Johnny
is.
Depp over there is saying Kramer's friend. Yes, I think that's the guy.
Yep, I think that's him. It's like I knew I seen him. And then
So these two guys, it's Butterfield and what's the other guy's name? I
I
can't
think was
remember.
they did they just call him the skinhead or something, or did he get did they give him an actual name?
Yeah, Butterfield and whatever his partner's name is.
What's his futz?
Those are not actors I remember seeing anywhere
Okay,
else.
so
Yeah.
Butterfield, I believe, in addition to having a brief part in There Will Be Blood, what most people may also recognize him from is the boss that gets blackmailed by Kevin Spacey's character in American Beauty.
Ah. And here we have Famke Jensen.
Jansen, yeah.
And she is, I believe, was she Dutch or from Norway? One of those countries? Sweden?
With a name like Famke Janssen, I would think so.
Janssen. So I know this is I think one of her breakout roles.
Yeah,
Yes. So
this may
young
have
looking Jennifer.
been her first starring role, I believe, or this is like her first starring role. Dutch.
She's
Okay.
she's Dutch. Thank you. She is captivating, I guess, is a good word for it.
And I believe this is also what helped her become the Bond girl. Yep.
Yeah, I think so because this was 2 years before she was a Bond girl.
Yep. And here we got a full circle. We've got her from X-Men from last week, and we've got Benny
Ex-
from
exactly.
X-Men from The Mummy 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And if we ever do Deep Rising, we'll have a reunion between these two.
There you go. And it's funny. We've seen enough movies now where we're going to make connections. Eventually, we're going to get every single actor, and we're going to have like this Kevin Bacon 6 degrees of Kevin
Yes.
Bacon competition.
Oh, she was in Rounders? Okay. Yep. Well, has Deep Rising actually gotten a release yet? Or is it still
Um,
in like some sort of limbo?
Deep Rising.
Treat Williams, uh, we got the actor here playing Valentin, who he's a more of a that guy. He's had lots of small roles.
Yeah, he looks familiar, but he also looks like all these other actors that I think is him, but no.
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is too easy. You got to do so and so to so and so. I'm
Oh,
very good
that
at
would
that.
be Instead of everybody how they go to Kevin Bacon, we can do one actor to another actor, and we just do like roll of the dice. That would be more challenging.
Yep. Well, I guess you get within 6 degrees of everyone.
Yes, eventually, if we're good enough and clever enough, we should be able to go from one person in the entertainment industry to another within 6 degrees.
Yep. Which is
But
generally why most MLMs fail. It's because you run out of people.
yeah,
I believe this one was
okay,
back.
Alex. Okay, Edward G. Robinson to Bronson Pinchot.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
go everybody.
Let's see. Edward G. Robertson. Go to the 10 Commandments. So that gets you to a whole bunch of people.
Um,
Charlton Heston.
Charlton Heston to
Who are we going? Who is the other person? Bronson
Bronson
Pinchot?
Pinchot. So if
Okay.
we want to take him to okay, was Charlton Heston in one of the airplane disaster movies?
No.
Earthquake disaster movies.
Uh, okay, let me see. Probably the earthquake disaster movies. He was in Planet of the Apes. He was in
Mm,
True Lies. I'm trying to think of, you have to go newer. Okay, so
I'm
True
thinking
Lies.
of yeah, I'm thinking
You can
of
go from
getting
okay, so
newer.
you can go from Bronson Pinchot to Eddie Murphy because he played the like a clothing person in one of the Beverly Hills Cops movies. So from Eddie Murphy, so we got to get from Eddie Murphy to just about anyone, honestly.
Okay, why is my Google search coming up with Airport 75 had Charlton Heston?
Maybe he was in that one. 75 might be one of the ones I hadn't seen. They started to blend together after a while.
Yeah, exactly. But George Kennedy was the one that was in him. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, Charlton Heston to Mike Myers. If we can get him to Mike Myers, then we can get him to Eddie Murphy, and then to Bronson Pinchot through um, Beverly Hills Cop.
Yep.
So yeah, working backwards too.
Yep. So believe these scenes in the graveyard were actually shot on location at the famous Hollywood uh, cemetery. So, and that's another thing that kind of raised the costs on the movie. And look, Pentages.
And from what I have researched, it really didn't make its money back at the box office. I think it made
No.
a little bit of a profit, but
Yeah.
maybe profit is a euphemism for barely breaking even.
I believe it made $13 million and its budget was between 10 and 12.
Yeah.
So
And
flopped harder than me in a swimming pool.
I or me try to do a belly flop.
True.
Um, is this movie why? There's a lot of speculation that this movie was the reason why he kind of is did not do any more movies.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I know he had all sorts in the typical fashion. They had cuts that he wanted to make. I think he was kind of done with the industry at this point. After between this and the way they messed with him on Nightbreed, I think he was just like, you know what, it's not worth it. Although, on a side note, before directing, he had worked on films before in other capacities.
yeah,
So, but this was just not like now. So he's credited as having some production work after this, primarily story based behind the scenes and executive stuff. But yeah, this was his
yeah,
final directorial outing.
yeah. And I guess he was a stickler for control of his product with so many um, what with so many hands in the pot in the Hollywood industry. Um, you can lose creative control. You can lose
Yep.
the process of your own product, and it will end up to be something that you never wanted, never intended for your product. Um,
It's like the
oh,
stagehands don't see any wires, but damn it,
yeah.
he doesn't look like he is floating on wires. Oh, I'm sorry, with the special effects on this are just like, you're trying so hard. I feel you. You're okay.
Oh, are
You
you
can do
already
it.
at the theater?
Yes.
Okay. Did you miss the whole cemetery scene?
Nope. I got to see the cemetery scene, but I'm gonna
Okay.
say mine probably was shorter than yours.
Okay. Yes. So we're just now at the theater where you see. Okay. So the gorgeous blonde with the probably the short, fat, ugly multi-millionaire wondering what she sees in him. They just stepped out of the limo.
Okay, so I'm actually where they're on stage.
Okay. Okay. So we're just a few minutes behind. Okay, here we go. Now, Calbot is wrapping up our Charlton Heston to Bronson Pinchot. Gray Lady Down had Charlton Heston and Ronnie Cox. Ronnie Cox in Beverly Hills Cop with Bronson Pinchot.
Oh,
So
boom.
I think we did it in under 6, right?
Yep. So looking at
Ooh,
these
we've got a
dancers
good year.
on this stage, it's like, does anyone remember like the Running Man? That was probably just after this, wasn't it? It's like,
Running Man was 80s, a couple years before, right?
so you're just like, what is it? Rain, Sub
Running
Zero,
Man.
say their names with reverence and pride, where they were doing the little dance to the fallen
Yes.
gladiators.
Yep. So now we're seeing him on stage,
Yep,
and he's going into his little trance.
yep. Like I said,
Yes, Matt's on stage too. Alex Peacock, when the special effects look worse than a David Copperfield
Copperfield.
special.
Yep.
I saw David Copperfield live once in Vegas. If you're sitting just right in the audience and you're not sitting head on, you got to sit over to the side. You can see behind the illusion that he's trying to
Yep.
create, and you can see how he's doing it.
So now we've got Swan on a table spinning.
Okay, yep, you're a few minutes ahead. We're just now getting set up with um the whole stage production. This does remind me of like a big Las Vegas production
So
with
yeah,
imagery.
the dialogue scenes were one of the things that Clive Barker was fighting for with this, because the studio was like, we don't get this weird genre mashup thing you're doing. We want it to be more horror. And he's like, no, the point is to break the genre, to bend it and do some weird stuff. And like they're like, cut out all this detective stuff. And they're like, he's like, no, that's the whole point. He wanted to do like supernatural noir.
And the studio was probably like, nope, just show the big production, the stuff. We need big production value.
Hmm.
Um, so there's that balance between how much of the story do you want to get into
Yep.
versus just give us the special effects. Well, the special effects without the story
Yep.
are nothing, really. You have to have the story with the special effects.
And he was just like, the talking parts also gives the audience time to breathe.
Yeah,
And so when you do like that, he was like, you make the movie kind of more horrific, because without the dialogue in there, your action and bloody scenes are coming right back to back on top of each other.
right. Yeah, and you do need to pull back. You need the audience to just take a deep breath, and then you build up until you get that pinnacle again. And that's how you keep the movie rolling. Okay, so you are a few minutes ahead. We're just now getting to the part where Swan is on the table.
Yep.
and he's making sure all the locks are in place, and it'll start spinning here, and just there
Yep.
goes it. Now it's starting to spin. So, how many of you are a little bit ahead of that, and how many of you are right at where it's starting to spin?
Someone yell, "Cut! Go to
Yeah.
commercial! Go to commercial!" So here you go, where that thing with the spinning table, that was another reference to the Ten of Swords. He said that this was one of the first visuals he had in mind for this movie when it happened, was the man on the table.
Okay. So Alex is also where you are.
Yep.
He's after the swords.
Yes.
Okay. So, yep, we're just now seeing the swords coming down because it's apparently not going as planned. Yeah.
Butterfield's pants are so tight you can see his religion.
Yes, that's true.
Sub-Zero, now Plane Zero.
Well, can you imagine the people in the audience seeing this thinking,
Scarred for life.
"Can we do something? Is this part of the act?"
Act.
It would be the act of all acts
X.
if he pulled this off and just made everybody. Yeah, but this last sword, yeah,
Oh.
that wasn't supposed to happen.
Nope.
They killed Benny, you bastard.
Bastards! Good.
Great minds think alike. You
Like,
killed Benny, you
Benny,
bastard.
bastards.
Okay. So Eric has the same version as me. So we're on the director's cut, and there's going to be some on the theatrical cut. So right now we're only
Oh,
a few minutes ahead, or like
see,
there's a few minute difference.
this is what happens when you sidecock, when you're trying to shoot somebody.
Yeah, and when there's no safety mechanism in your trick,
Yep.
this is what happens when you use real swords. Oh, okay. So great reference, Johnny Devitt. This is like the
Like,
end of the illusionist.
yes.
Is
Everyone,
that the one with
that's the one with
Hugh
the
Jackman?
no, the other one. That's the Prestige. The
The
Illusionist
Prestige.
is the one with Edward Norton.
Okay. Because the Prestige and the Illusionist came out
No,
at
like
like almost the exact same
like same
time,
time.
and I always get them confused.
Yep.
And then this one, okay, serpent. For some reason, I always get this confused with the serpent and the rainbow, and I
Yep.
have no idea why because they came out almost 10 years apart.
Well, maybe it's like like with Pullman and this one, because it was like that actor you know from something else, just trying to like maybe before they were famous or trying to do something different against type. Maybe.
And that could be it.
Thank you, Benny. So let's see. I guess they couldn't let him clean up or anything. He's got the big old gash in his hand.
And a
Sir,
busted
get a
nose.
hostess most nose.
So we got to wonder what are, okay, so why did they kill him? Who killed him? We want to know the backstory.
Well, clearly they're surprised. They're like, "Who killed him?" So he
Yeah.
was just like, "You did." Like, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
And you would think these two guys did, but everyone's kind of clueless.
Yep.
So we're at the point where not Butterfield, but the other guy just got skewered.
Keyword. That finally stopped him because being beat the crap and going out a window. Go-
Yep. That was a great kill. That was a great effect.
Yep. And now we're at the House of Magic, or sorry, the Magic Castle.
The Magic House, which is a real place, by the way.
Yes, and I think this was one of the first movies that they actually allowed to film around it. This is not on the actual inside, I believe. Like this is still a set, but
But they could film the outside and make it known that this place does exist. And I think it
yes.
still exists to this day,
Yeah.
unless I'm wrong, because the land prices up in LA and some suburbs of LA have really gone through the roof.
Yep.
And it's been bought up and developed. Mm. Yes, Matt is
Yeah.
saying I've always wanted to visit the Magic Castle, but it's
It
members
was
only. I
members
believe. Yeah,
only.
I believe it's still members only.
Yeah, you have to be a magician.
But okay, so this is not a spoiler, but so in this movie, they're describing maybe in a few scenes from now the difference between magicians and illusionists, where I would think they're the same thing because they're both creating something for you to see that is not really going on. And it's all sleight of hand, but there is a difference.
And at least two of the people, like one guy who's playing Billy Who, actually, I think I'll let other people catch up before I go on with that.
Okay, so yeah, some of us are behind, some of us are a few minutes ahead. I don't want to fast forward and I don't want to tell you guys, okay, hit pause and let us catch up.
Yep.
So right now, it's just right now is where mine is. They're right at the Magic Castle. So
Yep.
it's I think it's about a 2 to 3 minute gap.
Yep. So
So it's
the guy showing him into that is an actual musician, I believe. It's not Blackstone, but he's an actual musician. Magician. The older gentleman.
yeah, we're at the time. Yeah, he's going right up to the bar, and I'm surprised they allowed him in. Um,
I think I remember that there was a reason for it eventually.
hey, what happened to my subtitles?
Oh no, not your subtitles. Anything but
Oh,
those.
there we go. Um,
And
oh,
the guy in the red jacket, I believe he was their actual magic consultant for the movie.
so again, you're just a few minutes ahead. So he's at the bar talking to that older gentleman,
Yep.
and you're a few minutes ahead where they go to the that room, or they're describing what that room is.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, Johnny Devick is saying from playing D&D, there's a big difference from mages and illusionists.
In the
Yeah, and
yeah, in the short story that this was based on, that was the difference between magic and an illusion was a big plot point. The character who's the swan equivalent in that was like he would correct you whenever you called him a magician. He was like illusionist. And that's actually a plot point, magic versus illusion.
yeah. So the big takeaway is there is a big difference, and there's a reason why the movie is called Lord of Illusions
Illusions.
versus Magician. Okay, so I see over in Discord, yes, Matt and Alex Peacock both posted the same guy. Yes, we're just now at that scene
Yep.
too.
That is Vincent Schiavelli, who I think the last time we saw him was when we watched Ghost over on with
Yes.
Creative VC. But
Yes.
he could always have been in the background of another movie and we might not remember. because
I am
he's a that
remembering him.
guy.
Exactly. I remember seeing him in a whole bunch of things, but if you were to ask me besides Ghost, I couldn't tell you.
Yep.
So Matt, the one that you posted, that picture of him over in Discord, someone alert Batman. Is that, was he in one of the Batman movies? Boy, and we're going to go off on a tangent on this guy because I think he's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like I said,
Um,
he's a that guy.
he is a that guy.
The
Eric
world
is saying
runs on that guys.
he was also in X Files, right? Was he
Yep, believe so.
one of the episodes? I'm gonna have to watch that again.
There's probably not a lot he hasn't been in. He's just like one of those ones who's kind of everywhere, but you're not
Yeah.
sure if you can actually name something.
Um, okay, let's see if.
Well, if you're thinking of the physicist and the twin who was the custodian or the janitor, that's a different actor.
Okay. Matt is saying Batman Returns, the Circus Crime Squad. Okay,
Ah, okay.
gotcha. Oh, Calbot is saying he can't find a gift, but he was also holographic arms peddler in an early episode of Star Trek Next Generation.
Okay.
There we go. People are, it's clicking.
Connected those dots.
Exactly.
Now we've got him doing a little B&E here.
Exactly. That will land him in jail, actually. Just because he wants to get in, he's not allowed. So, yeah, he just committed a felony.
Yep.
But I have often wondered when magicians do the trick with the pigeons, right? And they just seem to pull them out of their hats or their sleeves. How do they do that? And why do the birds not make noises? Why, you know,
I know
they're
for
not. Do you
I,
know?
I know for the rabbit one or whether it's the actual hat, it has a false bottom. So,
But you think
but I don't know about the
birds,
ones where they're having them come out of their jackets or stuff. But the
right? You would
the
think
rabbit
that
out
when
of the hat, yeah,
you shove a bird into an enclosed place, they're not going to like it too much.
probably not.
No.
Unless you do it like the Prestige and just kill them. Whack.
Oh. Okay, so now we're at the point where he's having either a nightmare or he's having flashbacks,
Yep.
right? Are
That
you guys
that was
still
that was a minute or two ago for me.
okay? Now he's having the vision of the exorcist, we believe, with the angel or demon, whatever it is. Which again, I think that was a missed opportunity to tell that backstory about how it shaped his character into who he
Yep.
was and how he is investigating this crime. Um, that is what I appreciate about Clive Barker, Stephen King. They are such avid storytellers,
Yep.
and they don't cheapen the story by leaving things out when they think it's relevant. So I think for the sake of this movie, I think it got cut to the detriment of the movie.
Mandrake was the first illusionist to break into the media landscape back in the day. Okay, interesting.
Mandrake.
Mandrake the magician.
Okay, Matt is also posting him from Better Off Dead. That is a classic movie. I did not remember he was in Better
Oh
Off
yeah. Oh, he was a teacher because everybody wanted to date Beth.
Dead. Okay, I have got to put that movie. I don't think it's on my list.
That back to back with One Crazy Summer, Savage Steve Holland.
Oh yes.
$2.
I want my $2.
And once you get to the sanatorium scene, I just realized that the doctor leading him inside, I believe, was that from The Office? The guy from The Office? A guy
Um,
from The Office?
could be. We're Are you guys up there yet? We're not. He's now breaking back into that room,
Yep.
and I think
B and
that scene is coming up after.
It's like B&E. You can lose your PI license for that, fella.
Yep. Are we going to get a look at the cards on the table?
I think the best glimpse we probably were going to have when he Quaid was originally killed.
Oh, gotcha.
So you could see like little bits and pieces, particularly when he was coming in. You could see the table spread, or towards the end when he flipped over the card. That was the Ten
Gotcha.
of Swords. Look both ways before crossing the street, people.
You're at the sanitarium.
Yes.
Okay, I we're at he found the false bottom in the drawer and has that little phone book, and I think that's where he's going to find out where
Hmm.
Jennifer is. That's
Yep.
got to be, because then the next scene where he goes to where Jennifer is, how would he know that unless it was in the book?
Maybe. Well, he's maybe it was part of the conversation he has with Belichick.
Okay, could be. Oh, it might be part of the conversation coming up here.
Mhm.
Oh, Calbot, Mr. Vargas in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. See, he's
Yeah,
everywhere.
he's everywhere you want to be.
um, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. So I think he's the chemistry teacher based on that,
Yep.
or anatomy teacher, whatever, based on that picture. Was that the class that Spicoli was in? No, that was
No, that was Ray Milan. Not Ray Milan. Oh, Ray. My favorite Martian Ray.
yes, exactly, Mr. Spicoli.
Holy Mr. Hunt. So it was great there. You could get like a nice actor like that to star in. I don't even know what to call that movie. There's a fun fact. I actually saw that in the theater.
Did you?
Yeah, and just for context, I was probably about 7 or 8. So,
Did you see
so
it with
other kids
other
back in the
kids?
day when our parents just kind of let us go to the movies in groups, so we saw stuff. Well, also
I
my some of my siblings were like 4 or 5 years older, so and like our little cousin sibling group. But it was just
Yeah.
like the stuff I saw as a child in the theaters. We'll
Um,
talk. One day we'll watch Sword and the Sorcerer, and we can say, "Oh Jesus!" I was like, "Yeah, that's another one I saw as a child." Except for an adult took me to that.
I Yeah, I hear you. Um, okay, now we're at the part where he's talking to Jennifer in the sanitarium,
Yep.
and
So
now he's going to start like piecing things together. So I'm with you. So this was back in the day when movie theaters were everywhere. They weren't the most guarded, and they really didn't card you that much.
yeah,
So I was, with you. I went with friends, and if we saw a movie that we wanted to see, we could get in and see it. There was no big deal. So I probably saw a lot of movies that I
yeah,
was probably a little too young for, but didn't realize until we've actually seen it.
yeah.
Uh,
Just like the person at the door was just like, "Oh, here, your money's
yep,
green. Here, take the
yep.
ticket."
And
And they
then
cracked down on that.
Blockbuster, any
Yeah,
of those mom and pop video rental stores, they did not care what you rented. You just hand them your $2 or $3, and you could rent whatever. We had no
late
safeguards.
late night cable.
And we had late night
with
cable.
parents who had to work and went to bed. Like you're like, I'm sleepy.
Or when you had multiple TVs in the house and
Else,
they
yep,
knew not what you were watching.
watching exactly.
Okay, yeah, you're way past this. We're at the part she's freaking out about Nick's coming back,
Yep. I would
and
see
so
this.
now there's something about Nick's that we're starting to piece together that they're sensing that he's coming back. He's not dead. What's going on?
He doesn't want to go in the cart. I believe the actress playing Jennifer here is actually Native American. Um, and she's been in like a couple movies and some stage stuff, I believe. But like nothing like that's like really breakout as far as I know.
Yeah, she does not sound familiar, but she's yeah. With her other work, I could we could search for other stuff.
Yep.
Okay, now we're jumping over to Philadelphia. Okay, this is when the
Okay,
story. Okay, yeah, go ahead. I know
we don't
I
we
have
don't
to.
have the Philadelphia section. It jumped from there back to the Magic Castle.
Oh, oh, so I think you guys are missing this whole segment that we've jumped into Philadelphia and we're seeing a guy with his postal uniform on.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
and now this woman in her kitchen, okay, she like knifed her whole family, and I found this relatively
Huh?
disturbing because she did it to the kids too.
Yeah. See, as far as I knew, I thought that happened later in the movie, so maybe this is slightly out of order. So I know one of the
Could
things
be.
that Clive Barker was forced to cut was the scene of a dead child on the floor. However, he put it back in because he knew the executive wasn't going to watch the movie again. So he's like, "Oh, sure." He took it out, screened it, and then put it back in. And he was like, "Yeah, the
That's
guy,
the one we just saw.
yeah,
And so now we're getting more chunks of this story.
mhm,
It wasn't random that we jumped to Philadelphia or where was the other place? San Jose. It's not random. So
right."
now these people that killed their families or whatnot, whatever they were doing, are now going somewhere.
And Eagle-eyed him, I mean, particularly the guy with the glasses who's the poster work, I believe. You may
Yes.
recognize him for the scene at the start. I believe that lady was also one of the acolytes too.
Yep. If you remember, and you can make that connection that just adds to the story that oh, this is okay, so it's coming back around 13 years later.
It's like Curly Simon. It's coming round again.
Oh, that's the first time we've ever made a Carly Simon reference, I think.
Reference.
Right?
Yeah, probably.
Yep. I
Uh,
want to mention briefly, okay, Miss Swift, how long have you been with these watch parties?
a couple of years. Like I think I missed the first year or two of the watch parties, but I but it's been like 2 or 3 years now.
Okay.
Like,
You have a long history with the Creator VC watch parties.
yep. It's like I think the first one I remembered to attend was the one for Dune after the Brad Dourif interview.
Oh, wow. What's interesting is I can remember that watch party. I can remember his interview. And to me, it seems like, oh, that was like 2 years ago. Then when I go back in the archives, that was like 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
ago. And I just shake my head like, where did the time go? I obviously have no concept of time.
Mhm.
But yeah, we've been doing these for what, 5 years now? A little over
Yep.
5 years?
Yep. So it's like what was it? The the watch parties were a benefit of the first Kickstarter, which was definitely pre-pandemic.
Yes. And then it got us into the Discord.
Yep.
The watch parties, when they first started, looked so different than they are now. Um, and they continue to evolve because we're not connected to Creator VC anymore, other than I think a lot of us are still fans of Creator VC and are still following their projects.
Yep.
I know from conversations with some of you aren't following Creator VC anymore. And the beauty of this space is I'm not bound by their rules. We can do whatever we want. I'm looking at growing this channel. This is my first forte into, live streaming, into YouTube, being any kind of content producer. So who knows what these are going to look like next year? I don't know. Thank you, Alex. COVID and the pandemic messed with everyone's concept of time. Oh, yeah.
So let's see. Had we already learned that she was the child that was at the beginning? Was that already
No,
revealed as one of the previous scenes, or is that
no,
coming up?
I think it's coming up.
Oops.
Oops. Well, at least we're not giving away the ending.
Yes.
Oh, Alex is saying just now, yes. So
Yes.
are you guys at that scene? We're right behind
We're
you then.
we're a few minutes ahead of that. Like
Mm.
they're talking and he's looking at pictures with her.
So we're at the scene where he's into the what he broke back into the magic castle room and
Yep.
they're
And apparently mistook that freaking cheesy projection as real. I was like,
like,
kid,
come
you
on.
need your eyes checked. That wasn't very realistic. But then again, gotta love those 90s special effects.
Yeah, he's so see-through. This is so not real.
Real. It's like, yeah, this is like I guess compositing. It was early digital compositing, which has been around for a while. So
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't a reason for it to look this bad. But some
Yeah.
of the other stuff, some of the was it the digital effects on the face melting at the early part, you're like, okay.
Yeah, I think some of the effects, like the face melting, um, and like the face morphing and all of that, I'm looking at them trying to figure out how they did it, whether it's practical or CGI or a mixture of both. And I
Yeah.
think at this point, it looks like a mixture of both.
Effects feel like the Lawnmower Man. A little bit.
A
Yeah.
little bit, yes. Um,
Yeah, but I think for the face building, that looked like they did have like a digital compositing on top of something that they actually filmed, like
yeah.
falling or going through.
Now, do you guys have the scene where they're talking at his casket?
Yes.
Okay.
And you could see, what was it? At least in our version, you could see on her shirt, I guess the tears. She had like her shirt was wet from where she was crying.
That's some method acting.
Yeah. That's just eye drops. That's just me in allergy season.
Unless she can cry on cue.
Command.
Yeah, there you go. It is obvious she's been crying.
You're glad that effect wasn't supposed to interact with the actors. Yeah, like people are still a little bit behind where we get to what is called the Origami Man.
Oh, yes, we're coming up on that.
And when I say like this movie is, I call this like an almost movie. It's like there's sorts of weird things that you just don't understand. It makes sense. It's like, why. Like there's like weird jumps, and I'm wondering, is that the effect of the cuts where you're like, oh, so that's why those two sections don't quite meld together, or it seems like something jumped ahead.
Yeah, the editing process. Well, probably when they got to the end of the movie, they had a whole bunch of material and not quite sure how to put it together. So the
Mhm.
editing does seem a little bit choppy. Um, Not sure if it's just a time crunch, if it was not enough material was filmed.
Origami Man was in the PS game Heavy Rain. It's not like a mini series of the week got spliced into a
Oh,
90-minute movie. Yeah. Remember
yeah, and that does tend to happen.
because the director's cut was 121 minutes,
Hmm.
and they got it down to 109. So that's a good, you know,
Oh,
math.
are you guys watching the 109? Yeah,
Yeah, that's for an hour 48 roughly. Yeah, that's 109.
109. Yep. So we're looking at like a 12, 13-minute difference.
Yep,
That will become more obvious at the end of the movie when we're
movie.
playing catch up.
Yep. I'm fine with
She
playing
was,
catch up, just don't play mustard.
it's a good one. um, she generally seems distraught. Okay, she's shedding tears for her husband,
Yep.
but
This is where you
um,
learn Swan, you little groomer. Ugh. Like that's not creepy. That's just creepy.
yeah, when yeah, back in the okay, so the beginning of the movie, it's 13 years ago, and she was probably what, 12,
Yep.
13. Okay, so now we have the obligatory sex scene,
Yep.
and that's going to take up about 4 minutes, 5 minutes, I think.
And apparently the tattoo on his back was Scott Bakula's idea. That was something he brought to the character.
So this story could have probably benefited from this being cut, because
Yep.
I'm just not buying it that she's weeping heavily over her husband's casket, and then the next,
Yeah.
she's
Well,
swept off her feet.
personally, I didn't see any chemistry between these two.
No,
And Scott Bakula, he's good in a lot, but oh my god, he is so stiff and
I don't
his
think I've.
line deliveries.
Yeah, I mean, have we ever seen him in a love scene like this before in any of his movies?
Like I said, no, I don't think we've actually seen him in the love series. Like the closest we'd get would be Color of Night, but in that one, I
Right.
don't think he actually got an on-screen love story. But you were told that he had a relationship with someone.
Okay.
Then he
Um,
gets put through a window.
yeah. Alex, yeah, maybe she just had a need. Yeah.
Better than the love story in Ninja 3 to Domination. It's like, oh, where's my V8?
Yep, that is true.
Oh
That is
God,
true.
so terrible.
Yep, there we go. Calbot's got a gif of, yep, piece of paper. We're coming up on the origami man.
Man, yep. So I know the Origami Man was another one that kind of had to get trimmed down and pulled around, and you're like, okay, of where like there's probably more to it. So back around this time when you didn't really the internet wasn't as big of a thing as it was, and you had to see a lot of stuff with behind the scenes or making of specials. I remember them talking about the effort that it went in doing that and how they had to trim it, and that's where a lot of the budget had gone. So you're like, oof. And now it's just a little rough looking. But at the time, I was like, oh, CGI, look at that. Oh, ah. It's like when
Yeah,
that
I
and
remember
Lawnmower
those days.
Man were
Yep.
like, or
Anything,
Arcade.
anything like that, anything CGI, digitally done, was quite a big deal.
Yep.
Now it
Yeah.
looks dated, but back then it wasn't dated. It was top of the line special effects.
Yep. I was a old school computer nerd, and so like whenever you saw digital effects, I was like, "Yes, I'll go. I'll see it.
Mhm.
It's got digital effects." You're like, but you were watching some biggest crap out there. Like if there was like a direct-to-video movie called Arcade, that was one where it's like we rented it just because of like it had 3D graphics. Or what was
Yep.
it? Ghost in the Machine was another one from I want to say 90s, maybe 93 ish.
Now let's see
So
how
there's
close you are. Ghost in uh,
Machine.
Machine.
Your film teacher at high school hated CGI back in
Uh,
the mid 90s. He had
93.
a yep, he had a rough decade ahead of him. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was like we loved it. We were like, "Oh, we were nerds and we are sitting there trying to ray trace and do all sorts of stuff."
And that was cutting edge back then.
And yep, that lawnmower man. Oh,
Yep.
some of it was really bad.
Okay, so we're right in the middle of the Origami Man scene. Where are you guys at?
We've just had another run-in with Butterfield.
Okay.
So like this origami man scene was pretty weird. Like why is this here? Where did it come from? I still never quite clear on where this thing came from and why is it there. Especially
Well,
since
I
it
think
winds up
we're
giving away something that no one
right.
really knew at the time.
Well, so at the point in the story, I think it would be we kind of know that everyone's afraid of Nyx coming back.
Yep.
So my take would be that's Nyx kind of coming from the world beyond and
Hmm.
reaching out to seek vengeance, and that's how he kind of appeared as
Yeah.
the origami, and just as soon as he came he went, because he's not fully back in his human form.
Yep. And it's like, and it's got the weird origami thing, and there's like a fire snake there
Hmm.
for whatever reason. You're like, fine, it looks okay, or it looked cool
Hmm.
at the time, but you're
Hmm.
like,
Yep.
cool enough. But you're like, what? Why is this here? You're like,
Yep.
what's
And
the
as far
point?
as the story goes, we're still kind of sketchy on the story, but it's starting to kind of make sense. We just now figured out that Swan is not in the casket. That's
Yeah,
not him in the casket. And yep. And this exposition now
the
is that he,
exposition. What a show.
yep, he faked his death.
Yeah, so like it was like I always never quite got that. It was like oh, it's like and so the origami man leads him to look at the casket, and it's like, hey, this guy is not in there.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how he would make that leap to check the casket to assume that
Yeah.
he's not dead.
And also, you got some prime acting there when the fire flashes, and he's just like, you're
Yeah.
like, okay, you're a little bit off your mark. The
A little bit,
effects
and
of
not even singed by the fire coming
fire.
at you. You're just doing your scene. Yeah.
It's like Scott, give us your shocked face.
Johnny Devick, at this point, okay, he has no idea what this is all about, but at least my version has Spanish hard
Or
subs.
something. Yeah, like
Yeah.
this is why I like this movie because it's one of those ones where you're just like, I'm so confused about the creative choices you made, the storytelling choices you made. I understand you had to cut a lot of stuff out, but even then, you're like, why is this here? Why is everyone's deliveries so stiff? This weird thing, like no one's having conversations. They're all delivering quotes.
Right.
That's what you're like.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it. They're just, they seem to be just getting on their mark, saying their lines. Um, we're okay. So this interaction that we're coming up on, you guys have probably moved past it.
Yep.
Um, but this interaction kind of sets the movie on that on another trajectory. Um, so we kind of know the basis of the story, what's going on, sort of.
Yep.
And then now that we know Swan is alive, then okay, so we're going to go off on another tangent.
Yep.
So up to this point, how close to the original Clive Barker story are we? Do you remember?
Not even close. It was so in the Clive Barker story, the villain was Butterfield. Nix was invented. I don't know, like, and I guess since we're far enough into the story now, we can say it. In the short story, Swan was a magician or an entertainer who sold his soul to demons for real magic. But when he got it, he was disappointed in what it was. And this is about the difference between magic and illusion. So, what he did was he became world famous, but told people what he did was fake. And so it pissed off the forces on the other side, and they started trying to kill him because he was basically mocking their power. And, well, actually, more sport. And he dies kind of towards the beginning, and there's a whole thing where they have to sit vigil over the body. And I think Jennifer Desiderio is probably a almost a reworking of this part where at the time he was killed, Swan was hooking up with a one night stand who, when they come to get it, it's like a tiger eats her. But it was just something they did to her mind. So they go to visit her at a sanitarium later, and she was like, or her apartment later, and she's like, I can't come out. I'm still stuck inside the tiger's stomach. So it was just weird. So when I say this is completely different, and like
Yeah.
Nyx was invented for this movie,
Yeah.
where the like I said, so the difference between illusion and magic was a whole thing of where Swan is like, oh, I wanted Las Vegas contracts. And in the story, it was more he was almost sort of disappointed. He was like, that magic, real magic was sort of cheap tricks.
So we have a touch of that,
Yeah.
right? So the foundation of this movie is still on magician's versus illusionist, and then we're more on the story of Swan. We want to know about Swan's history and Nyx.
Hmm.
So we're getting away from the original Clive Barker story entirely.
Yeah.
Um, but it's interesting that the way you describe Clive Barker's story, that's how he wrote.
Yeah.
His works were, if you weren't paying attention close enough, you would be lost halfway through the story and you wouldn't know where you are other than you're just reading it to get to some kind of conclusion. But
Yep.
then it all kind of wrapped up with some kind of it's it's bizarre how he wrote.
Yes.
Um, and I don't know if there's a nicer way of saying it. It's his mind just doesn't work like regular writers.
Yeah. There was an interview with him talking about that. He was just like, people were like, well, where do you come with your ideas and why do you think so weirdly? And he's like, for me, it was normal. And I thought, he's like, I didn't realize other people didn't think this way.
Yeah.
Until I got famous and they were like, "What?"
Yep. But some of his work does translate to the big screen very well, I think.
Yeah, this movie
Um,
has a lot of like very good like visuals where like if you made it into a better story or like some of the performances, but like if you thought of it in terms of still frames, because when he was directing it, one of the things he did to save money was he storyboarded the whole thing out. That way he wasn't fooling around when he came to set. He was like, this is what we need to do today, this is what we need done. So you can kind of see that in some of the stuff like Swan floating, like you could see like the still images, but like it's just not coming together. It's like I would say almost like an animation where frames are missing, where you're like, "Oh, if you could just add a little more there, it would be great."
that's interesting that you mentioned that There was a very long documentary on the making of Hellraiser and Hellbound,
Yep.
and they talk a lot about Barker's influence or lack thereof in
Hmm.
those movies. And he was just kind of a lot of times hands off in that
Hmm.
movie. And then with this movie, he appears to be the opposite. And he wanted complete control of this movie to be his vision. But it still is lacking. Oh, Matt is saying at this point in the story, I want to rip my hair out too.
Yeah. Like I said, like I said, I wanted to make sure. I hope that people knew, more people had seen this going in, so they knew that it wasn't going to be a great movie. It was going to be like, uh, you were so close.
Yep. But every movie that we see, there's
Yeah,
always something to talk about. It doesn't have to be a blockbuster. It doesn't have to be the
yeah,
best movie ever made.
yep.
That would be boring if that's all we did. So we need to have all different kinds of movies, all different kind of experiences. Some are classics, some are misses, some are in between, and some are just. I mean, this is not a hot mess. I would not describe this as a hot mess.
That's just it.
Um,
It's like you have your so bad it's good movies, and you're like, oh, you're kind of incompetent. But that's just it. This one was like competent. It was competently made, but it just fell short. So you can't be like, oh, that earnestness you get from bad movies where you're like, this is the best they could have done. Whereas this one, you're like, you were almost there. Like that's it's kind of like, I feel like this the same way I feel like Event Horizon and Prometheus. You're like, it was you were just needed just a little bit more. Just something needed to have gone. Just one or two things just needed to be going different, and this probably would have been iconic. Because if you guys probably haven't gotten to, uh, you're still probably a few minutes behind us, but like
yes,
the visual look of the villain, that is very classic, very creepy.
yes. I I like how this movie ends. I like the setting. I like the visuals. I like kind of the wrapping up of the story.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're still a couple minutes behind you. Um,
And also, let's see, prior, well, he was coming off of Quantum Leap, but prior to striking it big with Quantum Leap, he was in comedies that just weren't going anywhere. He had a series called Eisenhower and Lutz. It only had 13 episodes. He
Never
played,
heard
yeah, you could probably find it on YouTube. That's how bad it is. Like,
of it.
no
If you're
one wants
lucky.
to, no one wants to own, like, do anything with it. But he played Mary Jo's ex-husband Ted Shively on Designing Women.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And then there was like a
Yeah.
couple other things where he was in like an episode or two of things, and they tried hard. And I think the two most interesting things he did was in 96, or sorry, 86 and 87, he did two rather similar movies. One for the Magical House of World of Disney called I Man, where it was like a precursor to RoboCop, and that one was played for laughs. But then, like within a year, he did something called Infiltrator for CBS Playhouse, or maybe I have them mixed up which ones they were. I think Iron Man was Magical World of Disney, and CBS Playhouse was Infiltrator. And Infiltrator was very similar to the thing where they were trying to do superhero movies. And Infiltrator, which was similar to a movie called The Vindicator, predates RoboCop by maybe a few months to like a year. So when they're trying to do this whole thing of people becoming like robots, so how differently might things have gone if all these backdoor pilots and things that they had him in might have actually taken off?
Who knows? His career would have totally taken him in a different direction, probably.
Yeah.
There was also, didn't someone else make a comment about Iman?
I know I made a comment about it last week
Okay.
because, especially since like that was the time when like people were like, uh the things that you were watching, you're like, this is like the same idea. Might even be similar to what is it? From Martin Cove's doing Time on Planet Earth. But I think that one might have actually come out after RoboCop, where it was just like, the guy, he morphs into a suit, very Guyver like, and then he tries to, like,
Interesting. Interesting. I Man.
like, it mean like you'd have to do a web search for it. It won't come up on his IMDb. It'll be under Magical World of Disney.
Oh, okay. That's the
But
title in and of itself is Magical World of Disney now.
yeah, it was like, well, it was a long running thing that they did on, like, I want to say Sunday nights, where they
Sunday
just did
nights, I remember
movies.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
where like some of them were sort of like backdoor pilots. That, like, if they took off, you're gonna go.
As a matter of fact, I think that was where I saw Day of the Dolphin first. I saw Day of the Dolphin on TV. I was probably 5 years
Hmm.
old. And I remember plain as day seeing it on TV. And I believe it
Yep.
had to have been part of some larger, like Magical World of Disney, I'm guessing.
Hmm. That series is what Condor aired on. Lol. Yeah, Condor Man.
Condor Man, is that a cartoon?
Believe it was live action,
Condor.
but it was.
Was it? Why does that sound familiar?
Oh
Okay,
god.
Condor Man is 1981.
You might be thinking of Birdman.
Nope, Condor Man is 1981 family comedy.
Now the movie is From Beyond. Yeah. So now, for those of you who've gotten this far, now that we've seen Nyx, it was an interesting person who, like, he doesn't. There's another obvious case of they don't speak. They quote. I was raw.
Are
Raw.
you okay? We're at the part where Nyx is now kind of being uncovered. We see his
Yeah.
arm,
So, like, this
and
is this is creepy as hell. Like, he's been buried for 13 years.
exactly. So
And
now we're getting into like the meat and potatoes of what this movie is about.
yep.
And yeah, this is he should not look that good after being buried for 13 years.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So we
Um,
also, was it, missed the earlier part where Butterfield was on top of Valatin, just basically cutting him out. And, like, this was like Butterfield was like the standout in this series. Like, you're like, dude, you're awesome. He's just like, I just want to cut him out. He's just like stabbing and cutting and
yeah.
whatever.
Okay, we're at this. Yeah, this is a weird scene. These are basically the cult members that are coming back.
Homecoming or coming home.
They are not right in the head.
Yep.
How can you tell if you're in a cult?
Yeah, so they all were like, I believe Butterfield and the Skinhead were talking earlier about that they'd sent out the messages of to all the former followers that it's time, it's coming home, he's gonna return to us, we're here, you know.
Yeah,
And then,
and so no, go ahead.
and whatever they did in the meantime, that's what we saw them cutting ties with everyone, offing their bosses, their families, all their previous associations, whatever they did in the past 13 years. Nope, they came back to Nyx, who's about as charismatic as Keith Raniere.
Oh man, we could talk about high control groups.
Yep.
I was on this kick about these high control groups slash cults. Um, and you're in a cult when you kill your families,
Hmm.
get rid of your entire life to follow that leader, and you end up in some crazy shit like these people are
People are.
cutting their
Yep.
cutting their hair around a campfire. You're just covered in blood. Um,
He has risen. He has risen.
it's some bizarre stuff.
Yep.
But they have to. Okay, so Swan and um, okay, what's his name? Demore
Yep.
are now they have to come back to the scene of that original crime
Hmm.
because now Dorothea is been captured and taken back.
Yep.
Nix has kind of got what he wants now. And Valentine, that is a horrible way to go.
Yep.
We just saw him get his face messed up. And so, yeah, you guys are still a few minutes ahead, right?
Yep.
Okay. But we're both at kind of like the end sequencing of events.
Yep.
So this is really scary because the blood on their heads is from them cutting their
Themselves.
hair,
Yeah. Yep.
and uh, yeah. Okay, so we're getting mummy vibes too from the
Yep.
mummy.
Imhotep.
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 Benny was probably feeling right at home, and
Oh,
he's like, "Yeah, we've done this before."
before? Yeah. Or maybe Swan is like, I feel like I've done this in a past life.
Exactly. And maybe feeling a bit typecast. So at some point, you're gonna be 13 minutes ahead of us.
Yep.
And so I think we're still only a few minutes ahead.
Yep. So maybe it's like all towards the end then.
Could
'Cause-
be. Because there's a lot going on in
Yep.
this. And we're seeing right now, we're kind of seeing Nyx be rejuvenated once
Yep.
the pins are coming out of his head.
Ah!
Lovely.
Yeah. I've got about
Lovely.
13 minutes left on mine.
13 minutes. We have about 25.
Alright.
We're, so that timer up there,
Mhm.
let's see, we'll get it right. Where am I pointing? We'll get right there. Yep. That timer up there, about a minute 35, an hour 35. Okay, yep. That's where we are.
Yep.
So I kind of feel like, okay, when you guys are done, you've got 13 minutes to kill. Um,
Hey, I can keep talking.
so I can keep talking too. I
As
didn't
long as
realize that, here I was, my fear was there wouldn't be much to say and I wouldn't, there'd be a lot of dead space, but yeah, we could just keep talking.
Yep, as long as you let me know what's on screen, I could probably provide some insights, considering
Yeah,
I
there you
know a
go.
little bit of trivia.
We're about to see Nyx take the covering off his eyes.
Mhm.
And I
What is it?
thought this was going to be horrific, like they were spikes in his eyes.
Mhm.
That would have been a tremendous scene to take it off and have like these
Yeah.
spikes come out. But it just looks like a mask that they had put bolts in to keep in his head.
Yep. And also, if you like when his hand, they uncovered his hand and it like unputrefied, you're like, ew. Especially when they
Yeah.
were in the grave and Butterfield's kissing like, even though that wasn't as rotted as it should be, he still was kissing like a putrefied hand.
After 13 years, it should be nothing but bones.
Yep.
And I've actually gone in and done a little bit of research how long it takes for a body to decompose once it's been buried.
Right. So
Um, After a couple of years, then there's no, not fluid, but everything has been dried up.
mhm.
The bugs and the beetles should have cleaned that skeleton pretty clean.
Especially if he seems to have been buried in a desert. And also, what is it? Who
Yeah.
did the effects? KNB Effects Group, and maybe someone at, uh, seems to have been the primary effects house behind this.
Oh, so no big budget. They probably couldn't afford any of the big budget
And
effects.
something called XFX Inc. appears to be the people who did the effects.
You know what? Nyx here is entirely ungrateful to Butterfield. The dude that brought you back from the dead, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
Johnny Depp. I had not heard about those effects houses either. They might not be in business anymore.
or they're people scattered to other companies. So,
Oh,
Mad Matt, I'm hoping that the last extra 13 minutes explains what the heck you just watched. No, agreed with
well,
Johnny
we'll
Depp.
try.
It'll try. But that's one of the things about this movie. It's just like, why? This makes so little sense. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
Other than the whole fact of the high control group, we have this cult leader that has summoned his followers.
Yep.
Um, I mean, this if we were to have a conversation about that, we could go into things like the Jonestown massacre.
Yeah.
We could go to Keith Raniere with his Nexium. We
Hmm.
could go to Scientology as a cult. Um, the so the group back in the '90s out in California, um,
You thinking Heaven's Gate?
Heaven's Gate cult. Yep,
Yep.
that was like a mass suicide led by two leaders in a high control group.
I think that
Um,
uh, not Biker, Barker, was talking about one of the things that influenced him around this time this was made was the Solar Temple. Like the people, like it was like international, and like they set these houses on fire, and like they thought there was this child that was like the Antichrist. It was the whole thing, and so he was getting fascinated with cults around this time, which is why he grafted that onto his story. And in particular, what he wanted out of Nyx was for him to be like more like an ordinary man rather than one of these highly charismatic. You've seen how you saw people in other cults where that guy just was like he was such a great speaker he had going on. Whereas in this case, he was just like, this is just a dude. Looks like some trucker. I don't know. Maybe he found a copy of the Siddhartha. And it was just like, listen to me.
but that you know what that's interesting because that's not the vibe I get
Yep.
from Nix. He's not an ordinary guy.
Yep.
Um, so the way that the actor played him could have been a bit more laid back, where you're not seeing him as this high control leader, but that's what he's playing.
But somewhere along the way, he found some real power.
The people gave it to him, and they
Yeah,
were
he was
so just mesmerized. I think the creepiest part of this whole scene was when they got down on their knees on the broken glass.
glass. We suffer to come unto him, and they smash it, and you're like, oh,
That
okay.
disturbs me to no end.
Yeah, yeah.
For
The
that,
broken
for
glass.
oh, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
hurting just thinking about it.
Yep. Mad Max would be be right at home here. Yes, you would.
Um, okay, interesting question.
Oh God, not
Johnny
rewatching
Depp,
Battlefield Earth. No.
Battlefield Earth is the monstrosity of movies. So Johnny Devick is asking, didn't Kevin Bacon play a cult leader in a TV series some years back in the 7 Degrees category?
He played a FBI agent or some sort of police officer chasing a cult leader. It was called The Following. It was a TV series and it had like 3 seasons and it starred James Purefoy of Knight's Tale and the first Resident Evil movie fame
Gotcha.
as the leader. And yeah, that was pretty messed up. Where you turned around every corner, turns out someone was a follower of this guy, and they were doing messed up stuff in his name.
Gotcha. It is a fascinating area of study when you study cults. Um, and just there's so many things written about it, and people that have escaped cults.
Hmm.
No matter what the cult is, they all have a very similar story, and the leaders of these control groups all kind of go along the same lines of behavior, of what they say when they say it, how they control the group. So I heard a line not too long ago about the fact that no one joins a cult.
Yeah, they
And
joined something else.
you
That
really don't.
yeah,
Exactly. You're going into a group that you think is out to help people, or you like the message. You're drawn into that group of people for a reason. It's only after people are drawn in that the leadership, the message, the
Yep.
way they send their message out changes. Mad would say, "Is it over yet?"
Yeah,
Nope.
nope, nah. Now it's the Evil Dead. Yeah. Well, my copy is coming to a rapid close. And so you've
Oh,
seen now why I was like, he doesn't talk. He's like, and the fire said to me, Nix, and he's got the flame in his hand at the
okay.
start. Would I say he looks like a beginning? Like he was just in like what is it, like the little t-shirt, one of these little guys which are like you got your little felted or quilted pattern and he's in a dirty, dingy khakis. And then now he's in like these robes
Yep.
and he's just like where he definitely like at the beginning you're like who the heck is this guy, his hair's all messed up, he's all sweaty.
Yep. So you guys are approaching the end, right?
Yep, pretty much.
Okay.
We're just about to hit the credits, so you guys still probably have some more going on, but I'm like
Yep. Um, so Nyx is um, he's basically sinking all of his members deep into the mud.
pid, he's like that was
Into the
another thing where he was
yeah,
just like he originally wanted to be a god, but I guess being buried for 13 years he was like funk that mess.
yeah. So now we have the difference between um, him as an Wait, no, he's the magician. Swan is the illusionist,
Yeah, but
and
Swan got
Swan,
magic too,
right?
and we're never quite sure about how that worked. And so what we have here is like for whatever reason, Nyx is obsessed with Swan. That's another thing where it's never really made clear about what was going on there. Why did like Nyx go like fixate on like you? You're the
Right.
one.
Right. So you guys, okay, you guys are at the credits now?
Yes, we're in the credits.
Okay. So we're just gonna be wrapping this up for the next like 13 minutes or so. Because we're at the point where and my you know what, my subtitles kicked out. Um, but yeah, he Ketchum. No, what is his name? Oh no, here we go. Now I have it. Okay, so credits are rolling. Nyx is now meeting Swan. So now there's this
Yeah.
duel. So now we can go back and kind of explain it where Nyx and Swan were. Nyx was the leader. Swan, we assume, was part of the cult, right? And
Yep.
so Jennifer and the other guy's name, Dwayne, were
So
all members.
we had Jennifer, Quaid,
Quaid.
Pym, and Swan. I don't know if there was another
Okay.
guy in there, but yeah.
With all the other followers. And Swan wanted the illusion part of it. Nyx wanted the power, the magic. And there was that quote at the beginning about the division between like the worlds, the demon world, the real world,
Yeah. The
and so
divinity and trickery. And he's like,
right.
see flesh with a god's eyes, that you're just bags of meat of what and poop, you know.
Okay. So we can
Okay.
imagine that this was the source of the animosity of the division.
All right,
And
for one
Swan
quick
left.
thing,
Oh, good.
just to go back to the effects, K&B Effects Group is Greg Nicotero, Robert Kurtzman, and Howard Berger. So, no, they're not a whole bunch of people you never heard of. That's currently the Greg Nicotero, Walking Dead and Evil Dead people. But
Yeah,
not,
exactly. But he's not with that group anymore. I believe he's now, I mean, he's like a bigwig in his own right.
yep,
Yeah, so Swan must have left with, with a handful of people left. Nyx, being the magician that he wanted to be and the all powerful, he couldn't let this guy just leave.
yep.
And
And I
when
think,
Swan came back and they sought their revenge, Nyx had that power of magic and could just buy his time.
yep,
Years later, Swan is a powerful illusionist wanting to put the magic side to rest, but now Nyx is coming back.
and for
That's
whatever,
the story that I'm getting, right?
yeah, and for whatever reason, Nyx decided that he was going to sacrifice a young girl, which seems to be the step too far for Swan, which is why he gathers up a group full of, I guess, disaffected people. to go and challenge him. And where did he learn to bind Nyx? Who knows? Maybe it's in one of his books. We don't know.
No idea. But through some kind of osmosis or something, Swan did have that gift of magic, so they could do
Yeah.
that binding or that curse on Nyx.
Yep.
But Swan's direction with the illusions, he didn't want to go down the magic side, knowing
Yeah.
what Nyx did with it.
Yeah. I've heard some
So,
people say that like he does this thing where he puts his fingers in his head and he shows you
yep,
things.
he's doing
That
it
may have
right now.
Yeah. That may be him transferring some of his power to him, and that may have been what happened to Swan. He got in Swan's head and left a piece of himself behind, which is
Right.
why, he could be in the ground for 13 years and still have a jump scare moment.
There, yeah, there you go. There's all kinds of possibilities because that backstory is never really explained. And as Johnny Devick is mentioning, this isn't Swan Lake. No,
This isn't Swan Lake.
this isn't Swan Lake.
Swanee boy, the cults are
Oh,
calling.
okay. So Mad Matt is now carrying on with that explanation of the K&B Effects Group. Has worked on hundreds of films and
Yeah.
TV shows, including Predator, Evil Dead 2, Misery, Army of Darkness, From Dusk Till Dawn, Kill Bill 1 and 2, Sin City, The Walking Dead, Hitchcock, The Green
Yep.
Mile, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, and The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
Yep, that is Greg Nicotero
And
um,
company.
in company. Oh yeah, big deal.
Yeah.
So Nyx still wants to sacrifice um, the maiden, the young gal, but
Yep.
he's not. I don't think he's going to get his choice.
Well, at the risk of ruining the movie called Darkness from like 20 years ago, you got to sacrifice the original person.
Oh,
Sorry, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen that
oh,
movie yet.
from Darkness. Okay, so Darkness 20 years ago.
Yeah. It's like 23 or 26, like 2003, 2006. It's like that's around that
2002.
time. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, that's Anna Paquin.
hmm
Okay.
That was in that spate of movies that was like The Messengers, Darkness, Dark Water, where we were still riding the boom from some of the Japanese or Korean movie remakes.
Is that the era
So,
from The Ring? The Ring came from.
yeah, around there too. Yeah.
Okay.
Darkness Falls was a bit dull. Yeah, that's Darkness Falls is different than Darkness. And Darkness Falls was, oh, that was such a letdown. That was like, oh, so much potential. You had such cool lore, such a cool villain, and you just fizzled it away. Saw it back on DVD. Yeah. Before.
All right. Well, we're just kind of counting down the time. We've got about 10 minutes left. Do you guys want me to go into my spiel about the coming month's activities, or should we wrap up this movie and then we'll go into next month's movies and activities? Because I don't want to miss like the ending. Um, if Yeah, Miss Swift, you got any more? You got any more tidbits? Because we're at the
Yeah.
point now where she's about to fall in the pit.
Oh, just watch it when okay, just watch it like watch the sides of the pit where you're talking about some cheapness to the you're like, "Oh, your cheap special effects didn't always hit." But let's
The
see.
ones, the ones on his arm now, where his arm's like bubbling out. That's a
Yeah,
pretty cool effect.
and like his eye stuff, like it's weird. It's like I'm watching it now on like a 16-inch screen that I didn't used to have, but like now you can see
Oh,
some places where it's like the like what is it? I want to call it the compositing is a little like the lighting is a little off. You're like, oh, they were just so close. And still it doesn't seem to me like why he's so obsessed with Swan.
yeah, because he's. I think he just needs to finish the
Imhotep.
work that he started doing.
Yep,
Oh, Matt, the movie is over and he's already
already
forgotten about
forgot
it.
it. Oh, so this movie,
You
I'm like,
know,
this movie, like I told you, it was just like you were so close. Like
you know
some people,
what?
it's got to have been a cult following, but like you
Yeah,
could see there's movies where you're like, oh, I understand why everybody doesn't like this one.
Right.
You're like,
But I think
it's
it's more
senseless.
of, we all get together and watch a movie and we have fun discussing it, whether we stay on topic or
Or
not.
not, yeah.
Yep. So now we see Nyx going into this bottomless pit.
Yep. If you
And
see
I
like
think,
if you see it when he first goes into the hole, the sides wobble. There's like painted burlap, so he hits it. You're like,
yeah,
oops,
we
that's not
noticed that
so.
it's really not a solid wall.
And then like,
Um,
how far did you go? If this is what's happening, you're gonna pop up out of this. Like when
yeah.
I say like this character, he didn't speak. He quotes. He's like, "I was born to murder the world." Okay, that made no sense. Like, this
Yeah.
movie is senseless, and I
It
kind of
doesn't
love
make
it for
sense.
this reason. Like
Yep. Uh,
it's not it's like not good. I can't say it's outright bad, but it was not.
right. You know what? I think Johnny Devick hit the nail on the head. Gotta say, this doesn't feel like a cheap movie the way it's shot and
Shot
acted, but it's not a good movie.
movie, yeah.
You
Like
know, it, yeah, like you keep saying, it just keeps hitting it hits the mark, but then it's like, oh, so close. You're so close. Um,
it's like it was
if
made by
only.
competent people, but it just got cut. There's like you're like it feels like half of this movie is on the cutting room floor, even
Yeah.
more so because there was like just like connective tissues that like maybe if there was like one more scene or maybe a little bit more here to explain the connection between this. I also heard another person say is that Scott Bakula's character was kind of like it felt like the interesting stuff was happening off screen and we were stuck following Scott Bakula.
Yes. Yes. All the interesting backstory stuff, they totally didn't put any of that in.
Or even what
Um,
the bad guys were up to. It seems like whatever like Swan's crew, if we'd followed Swan's crew and they're getting
yeah.
picked off left one by one or imploding, that was a different
So
movie.
yeah, now we see Swan getting kind of pulled apart.
Yep.
That's a cool effect. That
Yeah.
is, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what? Going back to this movie is not a, it's not a bad
Bad
movie, but it's
movie,
not
yeah.
a great movie. And I was thinking, even if they had double the budget, would that have helped?
Yeah.
That might have given them some
Yeah,
time
time.
to cut some more reel and to film some more shots to kind of fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
Would it have made a difference? Only in the editing department, I think, does the movie really come together. And
Yeah.
so, more time editing, maybe a higher budget, and I think it would have all come together.
And for some more interesting tidbits, I had noticed when I was talking about this was like before people had started doing the supernatural and noir mashups that later are kind of found their stride, that
Mhm.
this probably came out this was like maybe a year or two after the noirs that started like that were based on the investigator H. Howard P. Lovecraft, or things like Cast a Deadly Spell and Witch Hunt that were made by HBO, which were set in the 40s with the noir aesthetic, but with the Cthulhu mythos grafted on top of it. So in that part, maybe these three movies were a little bit ahead of their time. Had people hadn't quite
Maybe.
gotten into the paranormal private eye vibe, which was what Clive Barker is going through. And maybe if this had come out a little bit further along when people were already used to that and that had become a thing, this movie might not have been like so I don't want to say butchered or like they were like,
Mhm.
"Oh, we get what you're doing. We get what you're
Yeah,
doing."
disjointed, I think, is a
Yeah.
really good term for this movie. So Eric is saying it would not surprise me one bit if this movie is a bit messy because the studio wanted something different
Yeah.
and then had to edit the crap out of this movie.
Yeah.
And you have the studio and Barker butting heads. I kind of get that feeling that's what happened.
Yeah.
So yes, we
Th-
are done. We are
yeah.
done on my end.
Yes, Dresden
Um,
Files. Yeah.
yay! Yeah, Johnny Devitt credits came to save the
Saved
day.
it. Yeah, the studio wanted more straightforward
Yeah,
horror. And Clive Barker was very much like, "No, I want the noir aspect."
yeah, that would have worked with more of that. So
Yep.
kudos to what Barker was trying to do. Shame on the studio, but that's the reality of the studio system we live in. If you want to make a movie, you have to do what they say. Okay, so let's. All right, so that was about a 2 hour movie. Um, Thank you all for staying with us after your movie ended for that extra 13 minutes. Let's cut right to the chase. For next month, the whole of September, I am going to call this the Stephen King September. Um, his birthday, September 21st, is also the month that The Long Walk is set to release in theaters. That's set to
Yep.
release on the 12th, which is a Friday, only in theaters, though. We're not going to be doing a watch party on that for some time. Um,
Yeah.
so, what I have planned for us is we're going to do next week. I have the original Carrie from 1976,
Ooh,
the
nice.
one that started his career, the book that started his career. We're starting off with a bang. The week after that, on September 14th, we are going to be doing The Mist from 2007.
Oh, nice.
Um, that is a very controversial movie. It's not one of my favorites, but we're going to have a lot to talk about. Um, so I have decided. So the last 2 weeks of September, we are going to be watching the 1990 miniseries It. We're gonna break,
Ooh.
we're gonna break it up into two parts.
Yep.
Um, if you're lucky enough to have like a DVD or the VHS where it is broken up in two parts, if not, if you have the full version, which a lot of streaming services have spliced together into one long movie, a 3 hour movie, we're going to cut it straight down the middle, where the first night of the miniseries would have ended. So we're going to be running about an hour and a half each.
Okay.
Um, and I think that's the best way of doing it instead of trying to do a 3 hour marathon of it. Um, this is one of my favorite Stephen King miniseries. Um,
The missed
there,
puns and the puns in the chat. Oh my god, I'm trying to keep a straight face.
I know. Okay, wouldn't missed it for the world, Johnny Devitt. Thank you.
Looking forward to
Yes.
it.
Yep. To it. Looking forward to it, Johnny
Yep.
Devitt. Yes, full of them. Matt is saying swing and a missed. Oh yes,
Yep.
Johnny Devitt missed the ending.
Yep. Maybe,
So yeah, we're in for a treat.
yeah.
Um,
But
I would love to rotate guests for these. If there's a particular one that you want to do, reach out to me. Otherwise, I'll be reaching out to you guys. Yeah, Johnny Devitt, let's do Carrie. Um,
yep.
if yeah, if at all possible, if you want to do it, you haven't co-hosted before and you're thinking about it, let's see if we can make it happen. Um, and yeah, there you have it.
That's it.
So
Eric is like, I still enjoyed it. It was great to see it again after all this time. Yeah, like you could see like there was like promise to it. But like I said, if they had just cleaned up some of the parts that didn't make sense and make disjointed.
yeah,
It's like, do
yeah,
we
and
have a
I
cheat?
think Johnny Devick is making another pun about it's the word the knights of knee can't
Get
hear.
here.
Okay, yeah, the getting on your knees in the glass, so painful. Ugh. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
like,
We're gonna end on Johnny Devick's. I better stop with the pun before
oh
I
wait, do we have a
miss.
cheese rating on this one?
Yeah, who does the cheese rating? I think is it Sith Sister who does the cheese rating? I don't know if Sith Sister was here today.
Oh, yeah.
I saw James Hellier in the chat much earlier, but he's not here. He's probably still on vacation.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, for all of you that has stayed till the end, thank you so much. For those of you that didn't stay to the end, thank you so much.
Yep.
This was a lot of fun, and Miss Swift, thank you so much for giving it a try to co-host. I hope you come back.
Yep. I'd love to come back, especially if we're going to do Event Horizon or Prometheus. I would totally be there.
Oh, I think I have them on my list. Well, yeah, you know what? Once September is done, we're going to be moving into October, November, December, and we'll see what kind of adventures we should have. So yes, thank you so much for joining, Johnny Devick. Good show, Swift and Sharon. Great words of encouragement. Thank you so much. I appreciate doing this, and I appreciate bringing this to you guys every week. We're going to do it again next week with Carrie from 1976. So get your copy ready, and who knows what's gonna happen next week. So be good to yourself, be good to others, and thank you, Miss Swift. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Thank you guys for being game for this one, even though you didn't know it was.
Bye.